We are not optimistic nor pessimistic about the outcome of this meeting now, but we are confident that we are on the right track. And if America's will, seriousness and honesty is proven, it could be a good sign for a better future.
Camelia Entekhabifard is the editor-in-chief of Independent Persian. She joins us live from Dubai. Camelia, thank you so much for your time. It's interesting, isn't it, that the U.S. Special Envoy for Iran, Robert Malley, has said that the U.S. administration, the Biden administration, knows that it has to lift sanctions that were placed by the Trump administration, sanctions that are not pertinent to the nuclear deal.
Thank you very much for hosting me. There are lots of political will between Iranian negotiators and Americans, but it's not only about the sanction has been placed by executive order by President Trump. There is also sanctions implemented by the US Congress and the United Nations. And to revoking those sanctions, it needs a support comes from the US Congress and the Senate to Mr. Biden, which I'm not seeing that much wheels behind of President Biden to support his initiative. And at the same time, there is no kind of any compromise seen from Iran. The supreme leader is stressing all the sanctions has to be lifted in order Iran go back to Iran nuclear deal. Talking about those issues, even if these talks continued, I am not so much optimistic to see that can be sorted out soon before the election happening in Iran in June.
In your opinion, was Iran justified in breaking elements of the original nuclear deal, for example, enriching uranium beyond what the deal agreed? And of course, Iran only did so after the Trump administration pulled out.
They want to provoke the Western countries. They want to provoke the United States to show how dangerous can be this program. In my opinion, is not as this much dangerous as they were pretending, or we should say also during Trump's time or even before, when the United States was fully obligated to Iran deal, it was not much economical beneficial Iran has been enjoyed, because this deal is weak, not in my opinion, in the opinion of international community, and there is a certain houses for the Iranians, for Americans, and for the Western countries when they were having wishes to negotiate on that, and based on these issues, the deal is not does well as it is, and for the future talking about is not operative. Perhaps these working groups today, they were patting the road for the future, maybe sometimes midsummer or late summer after the new president in Iran has been appointed, they can have a fresh talk. But again, everything is based on Supreme Leader decision. He has to take the first step.
Are nuclear weapons just an excuse for some countries to keep Iran under control? Because there are some countries in the Middle East that are just as involved in regional issues and activities beyond their own borders, but those countries maybe could be said to have more important and more influential friends.
Which country you are talking about exactly?
Well, you could talk about Saudi Arabia, for example. There's a proxy war happening in Yemen, which Saudi Arabia is very much a part of. There are also other regional actors in the Middle East who are involved in some kind of affairs. For example, you look at Hezbollah's Lebanon. That would be another example.
So, but Saudi Arabia doesn't impose any threat to the regional countries. Saudi Arabia doesn't have any drones attacking the facilities of other nations, doesn't have any militias like Hezbollah, like the Houthis in Yemen and in Syria and in Iraq. This is completely different things. I believe Saudis, it's his own self-defense when it comes to the Houthis issue. And the war in Yemen is another fact that we have to say international community were involved too. They pose a direct threat to the Saudis. We understand that there are lots of human violations in Yemen, and the United Nations wants to take the initiative to pursue the talks. But none of these countries at the region possessing or they were threatening to have the nuclear arms. This is a different thing. If you want to mention Israel, Israelis hasn't been exact, says that they were possess nuclear arms, but we know that they do but we are not seeing any threats may impose because having these nuclear weapons against of the neighbors. The neighbors have to move, the regional countries, they have to move beyond of these issues and conduct a peaceful talks. It doesn't matter Iran, Saudi Arabia, Israel, and they have to find a solution to put an end to all of those crises in the region, from Yemen to Syria, Iraq, and Lebanon. And I believe we have to blame Iran for most of those violence and the crisis in the region. Iranians are another victim of this violation. Iranians, they were fighting for democracy, for having their words to hear. And we knew that based on the broken economy, many of the protesters has been shattered and there is no room for the Iranian to protest. Today, even when we're talking about Iran deal, I'm not sure if the public were supporting the deal because they are suspicious. Their funds maybe again has been used to be expended for the regional proxies and the militias affiliated with the system.
Camelia, thank you so much. Camelia Entekhabifard speaking to us from Dubai.